up banning it out here. Though I think Warriors Gaming have only played it like once in their last 5 games or something like that. But looks like ET is definitely the new hotness, especially in China right now. I don't know if it's fair to call him the new hotness. He's been seeing quite a bit of play for like the last 2 months or something, I would say.
Yeah, no, and I think that the first places that I saw it was Shazam running it a lot from the North American region, and that was brought about a little bit. They were talking about it was SVG and Blaze that were sort of working on how to draft and what heroes were maybe sort of some of the under the surface ones, and they found that he still does a lot of the great stuff that he's always done, and getting a couple of recent buffs that have brought him a little bit more back to prominence. But I like this startup from Warriors Gaming.Unity with Lion and Tidehunter taken. They can certainly start looking to go for a bit more of the damage, and maybe a thinly veiled Drow strategy in the making, possibly. Terrorblade also still not picked, a little bit interesting there. But the Faceless Void Phoenix combo, the other strong dynamic that we've seen outside of just the straight-up ETs getting taken.
Yeah, Drow is certainly strong against offlane Faceless Void. Having a long duration silence is a really good way to be able to kill him off. So if we see some kind of indication of that happening, maybe Warriors Gaming.Unity consider it. I like the Tidehunter pick against the Faceless Void and the Phoenix. Tide generally should be able to hang back in fights once you have your Blink Dagger, and if the Chronosphere ever goes off, you just blink over the Chrono and ravage the entire enemy team, so they don't really get too much value out of it. Can be a bit dangerous if you get caught inside of the Chrono with the Sunray running, of course, because then even as tanky as you are as Tidehunter, you can still quite easily be brought down, and losing your Ravage at the start of the fight can be completely devastating. But where have we gone from here? We've got a Death Prophet ban out, we've got the Lifestealer, interestingly enough, removed by Vici Gaming Reborn, and Warriors Gaming.Unity just going to get rid of the Terrorblade, which seems like a pretty natural hero to remove at this point, given what we've seen so far today and what we've seen in the competitive scene over the last couple of months.
Yeah, the Slark's a bit of an interesting one for me. I mean, obviously it's not the greatest synergy with Void, but you can still go for the route of like Chronoing, even the Tidehunter or the Lion, any of those sort of supporting heroes, and then just going ham on one or the other with the Slark. But yeah, I also could end up seeing them go back for another strong team fight hero here. I always feel like it's dangerous going and like trying to out team fight a Tidehunter, but there's certainly ways to do it if they want to pick something like a Disruptor potentially, or one of those other ones.
Yeah, I think a Disruptor could be good. Another way to potentially deal with the Tide. You can kill them off inside of the Static Storm. Can be a little bit tough running Disruptor and Phoenix together. They both want quite a lot of levels. And okay, they're just going to go for the slightly less greedy option overall here as they end up picking up the Vengeful Spirit.
Yeah, and again, I know we've been talking about it a lot. The only reason that I'm talking about it more and more is because Drow Ranger has been so prominent, and that is still something that both of these teams could go for. Probably a little bit more Vici Gaming Reborn. And I mean, in the Vici Gaming games that we saw in the TI regional qualifiers, there's another one that came up consistently. The Earth Spirit is also going to get taken now, so Warriors Gaming.Unity looking for that rolling in towards the mid lane and just causing a lot of trouble early on.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you like in particular for the mid lane against the Earth Spirit? Is there anything that just helps to deal with that aggression that he places onto you?
5 seconds remaining.
I feel like a lot of teams look at heroes like kind of like Windrunner. I think if the Death Prophet hadn't been banned, then that would have been a decent option. Puck seems a little bit weak overall here for the lineup, but can be decent at kind of dealing with aggression from the Earth Spirit. And I think the Earth Spirit here isn't necessarily just about the pressure on the mid lane, but it's about getting the Boulder Smash against the Sunray as well, and also having the Geomantic Grip for the Faceless Void, and to some extent the Phoenix. But VGR are actually going to be the ones who go back for the Drow Ranger strategy here.
It's
all right.
It's pretty good. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Venge Drow. It's a nasty combination. And with Wind Ranger still available in the mid lane if they want to go to it. Oh no.
Oh lordy.
Well, he told me that you had to leave in 2.5 hours roughly.
So I've got 1 game left, is what you're telling me.
This is all that we got here.
I don't know. I don't like this Naga Siren pickup that much. It's decent setup for the Tide, but I feel like the Tide is already, because of the Drow Ranger and the Vengeful Spirit, he's already going to be somewhat relegated to the jungle immediately, like Ancient Stacks / the jungle. He's not really going to pressure the lane and get an amazing start. And this game rests already really heavily on the Earth Spirit's shoulders to get things done in the early game and get them off to a good start, because otherwise I'm not seeing it. I don't see the time for the Naga Siren to come online here with this lineup.
I mean, what's the play there? You just try and sort of stall for rate. That's all that you can do. And
yeah,
I mean, how are you going to make enough space to make that happen? You've got Tidehunter who can sort of hold objectives to some extent, but I don't know. I would agree that this is feeling very dangerous to me. The Death Prophet already banned out by Vici Gaming Reborn. They could have gone for that themselves if they wanted to. I kind of like the puck for themselves now, honestly. I feel like in the context of Drow, it works now.
Yeah, I think that could definitely be something that they look towards. Other options, there's still a Timbersaw in the pool if they want it. Alchemist. So I was about to say that I thought Warriors Gaming were going to do maybe they put the Naga Siren mid and then they have the Earth Spirit to help out on the mid lane, so that almost no matter what matchup it is, the Naga Siren's going to do okay there. And then they put, say, a Queen of Pain or something on the safe lane. Somebody who's going to take the farm early on and be able to go and apply pressure and kind of act as a springboard for the Naga Siren and make a ton of space. But instead, they just go for an Alk. It's greedy. I mean, Acid Spray can slow things down a little bit, but I just don't know how they. I don't know how they fight. I hope that the Alchemist goes for, we can't have two Radiances, obviously, so I hope the Alchemist just goes your Armlet, Solar Crests kind of build, and he'll be ready to fight and stall for the Naga Siren. That might work, but I'm still worried. Honestly,
it wouldn't even be terrible. All right, so a little bit more. Nana, obviously one of the star players for this team. It might be worth it for him to think about even pulling an early Ags to Tidehunter as a way to help clear those creep waves after going for an Armlet or something. But you kind of need the Radiance still to some extent. Do you try and go battle Naga Siren then? I mean, clearly if they go to the late game, I think that Warriors Gaming.Unity will be able to take this. Well,
but are they going to get there? Are they going to lose in 25 minutes?
Yeah.
That's the question right now. I think the Naga has to go for the Radiance here. I mean, they could have some strat up their sleeve. Naga Siren is still a good illusion hero. You can still build just illusion right-click based items. I've even seen people a little bit recently when they run the Naga Siren on mid, they just pick up Mirror Image early on, and they just use the the 3 illusions and your hero to just amplify your last hit damage and just get every single CS. So people are, still making use of the fact that Naga's a illusion hero and not just having her as a Radiance carrier. But I feel like the Naga Siren just kind of has to play a traditional style here, and it's the Alchemist who has to adjust a little bit. Alk is a very flexible hero when it really comes down to it. The Octarine, Radiance, Manta has been very popular as of late, but we've also seen people be super successful with the Solar Crest and Blink, and there's tons of different ways that you can go.
Yeah, one of my favorites is actually the Solar Crest into Blink Sanjin Yasha and maxing stun early, and then you just find a ton of kills. It's so cool. Warriors Gaming.Unity get a little bit of a D-ward there. Nana not only getting the natural gold, but also a little bit of Grievel's Greed off the back of it. So cool stuff, and they are going to be fighting for this level 1 bounty rune. Vici Gaming Reborn moving in, and they might be able to set up a pretty nice stun here. Maybe going to be able to take this one. Is Mikasa quick enough? It doesn't look like it as of yet. They are going to be able to take the bounty rune and dealing a little bit of damage onto this Dragon Eye as well. Zaki is going to be the first blood. FY also is going to be able to body block a little bit. Mikasa's surviving through all of this, and Nana is actually in a lot of trouble, possibly? No, he's going to be good. All right, they're fine.
All right, so in the end, the bounty runes end up going to the Alchemist and the Faceless Void, but the first blood gets picked up by VGR, so I think still pretty good for them. This DK did cop a ton of harassment, though, so going to have to take a little while to pick up his points in the Dragon's Blood. That looks like, okay, he's ferrying another salve, realizing that he just needs the extra regen.
Yeah, and didn't have the mana either, so it's going to be a hard thing for him anyways. I do like this Earth Spirit who's actually going to be able to soak up a good amount of experience here in the off lane while they stick Wen, the Tidehunter, in the jungle with the Iron Talon right from the start.
Oh, lordy. Don't do it, FY. Leave that courier alone.
He wants it. He's hungry. Is he going to be able to get it? It looks like that's
the Drow aura.
Yeah, there's
Radiant's courier.
a very unfortunate situation, as that was 2 slippers of agility and a healing salve, and that's actually pretty significant. No poor man's shield is going to make this a little bit more difficult for Nana to deal with.
Yeah, and alright, so the Earth Spirit is just taking levels in the offlane right now because the Tidehunter, seeing the lane that he was up against, has just completely abandoned it and has gone straight into the jungle. So they don't have any Earth Spirit pressure on the mid lane, but even if they did, I don't think they would have any kill potential really on the Dragon Knight, especially if the Alk is just going full greed. And that's kind of what he's signaling right now. He's got 2 points in the Grievel's Greed. Could go back for a point in the stun at some point, but it looks like Warriors Gaming.Unity is just going to kind of turtle up and hope that the Earth Spirit and the Tidehunter can win them some fights with some levels. But look at Yang. He's just like, whatever. There's nobody here. I'm just gonna hit you.
This is Yang Faceless Void is pretty good, almost as good as his Batrider, I would say, and he's really solid consistently on it. We've also seen him play the Puck before, and when he is on form, he's one of the best players on this team trying to get it. And Zaki in a lot of trouble, throws out the Earth Spike. That might be able to keep him safe. If Yang gets a bash here, he can still find it. Oh, looking for another one. He might die anyways. Oh, God. No, I'm not going to be able to get it.
10%.
Middle tower is under attack.
No such luck.
FY is still floating around here and going to try and mess with the jungling Tidehunter, but he's going to just pop him in the face a few times, and FY is going to need to tango up and head out of here.
That Anchor Smash hurts when you have 0 base armor. I think he actually has negative base armor, yeah. Negative 0.3.
It's a rough one.
Yeah, trying to steal some experience, knows that the Tidehunter's in here, nobody's top. Or Vici Gaming Reborn should be able to get a pretty quick tier 1 tower up here if they so desire, so that's going to be some extra gold in the pockets for the Faceless Void and the Dragon Knight, and then the Dragon Knight can take that gold, and he can look towards another tier 1 tower with his ultimate. So you can definitely see how things are going to snowball here for Vici Gaming Reborn, and I'm so worried because I feel like if Warriors Gaming.Unity ever waste a Ravage, if that ever happens, then they almost immediately lose the game. Almost.
It's a lot of pressure on this Tidehunter, but yeah, I would kind of agree. It's a rough one indeed. I really want to see how this Nana Alchemist ends up itemizing. Whenever they have games that I feel like they win, it tends to be off the back of his plays. He's actually taking a good chunk of damage here. Mikasa having his way with them in the mid stage and able to get a nice little chunk of these denies. 20-6 versus the 15-0 on the Alk. It's not terrible, but it's certainly not the way that you want it to be going.
Yeah, Dragon Knight just has really solid base damage. And the thing to remember about the Acid Spray, of course, is that it doesn't just help you get the last hits, it also helps you, the opposing mid laner, get the denies. So if they're used to playing against Alk or playing Alk themselves, it's not really much of an advantage in terms of finding CS. And Dragon Knight just does not care about the Acid Spray early on. Dragon's Blood is just way too much regen.
Oh, FY doing a nice bit of damage there to Zaki with the Sunray, and when he's just being harried all around the jungle by this FY Phoenix. It's funny, FY has literally not even been to a lane yet. All he's been doing is sitting over here and trying to mess with the Tidehunter jungling.
Yeah, he's managed to steal quite a bit of experience, and Tide is a fairly level-dependent jungler. I mean, once you get up to 3-4 points in the Anchor Smash, you really pick up some speed, but so far, not really all that quick. And FY really knows that he's not under any kind of threat. So long as he sees the Lion bottom, there's absolutely no chance that he dies.
Well, and Lion, speaking of which, might end up being in trouble with the Afu rotation. They find the kill. And this is sort of harkens back as we see the Vengeful Spirit come in and kill off Nana. Alright, so Yang goes down, but they lose the Alk mid. So I think that right now, if you're VGR, you're pretty happy with that.
Oh, definitely. And looks like Mikasa even going to be able to come in here and put some damage onto the tier 1 tower. I don't know why that glyph was used instantly. Looks like it actually stopped the poison attack being applied, so I guess that's what they were going for.
Well, and that is going to end up meaning that this ultimate, which was used for the kill, is going to end up expiring without a ton of tower damage. But you can see here in the offlane, Wen being forced out by the FY Phoenix, continuing to just do so much damage to him with that Sunray. And now the tower is starting to get pretty beaten down here. This should be a quick tower kill that you were talking about a little bit earlier. Just under 6 minutes in. They're going to be in a good position. Curry.
Yeah, they just got so much damage from the Drow Ranger.
All right, so let's look at the macro sense of this game. It's a 3,000 gold lead at 6 minutes in.
Oh,
it's almost
God.
1,500 experience. The last hits are really telling the tale. If you're Warriors Gaming.Unity, what's the play now? How do you try and fight this? Do you just sacrifice all of your towers? Do you what do you do?
I think you need to try and wait until 10 minutes at the very least, because it looks like you're going to need the tome for either the lion or the earth spirit to pick up their level 6. They really need the ravage, finger of death, and magnetize. I think those are really the big three that they're looking for here. I'm hoping that the alchemist is going to go back for a more fighting oriented build. I'm really hoping to see some armlet components in his inventory before too long, but we'll see what ends up happening. Again, I don't think he's going to go for the Radiant, so it'll be interesting to see what he opts for as the build here. But yeah, I think that's what they have to get to. They have to get to those 3 spells.
Zaki realizing that Mikasa and DDC were going to be there. They are not going to be able to find a kill, but this should still be another tier 1 tower. They're going to look through the trees, don't find anybody, and start to bring this down very quickly. And Yang can just keep this lane pushed out. He's able to cut the creep wave the whole time through. This is a scary moment right now for Warriors Gaming.Unity. They can't really end up punishing this at all either. None of the lanes are pushing out enough where they're going to be able to take a tower of their own. So 2 towers now down, one in the top lane, one in the bottom lane. I mean, do they start even thinking about Roche at this point?
For VGR, yeah, I think they could if they wanted to. Could sneak in there before Tide even has his level 6. They've got quite a bit of damage. I mean, I just love the way that Yang is playing. Like, he knows that they can't do anything to him. I mean, they did kill him in the offlane before with a nice rotation from the Earth Spirit, but he's just always poking his head forward. I was about to say that, when he was cutting the wave bottom, that wasn't even necessarily any information. I feel like other offlaners, you would look at that and you'd be like, something's going on. This guy's playing way more confident than he normally does. There must be a gank on its way. But for Yang, that's just another day at the office. He's just always in between the buildings. Nice deny from the Alp. All right.
He's comfortable.
That's something.
That's the best thing that's happened for Warriors Gaming.Unity all game, actually, which is not necessarily the best. But yeah, it's something.
Tide.
Oh my God, down bottom. They are
circle around the trees.
They have Chronosphere just drop it onto Afu. Earth Spirit, no great way to get away from this one. And Yang finds the kill. The Earth Spike trying to turn this back around. DDC is here as well, though. He might be able to get the time walk off. Is going to end up falling. So no way to break that. DDC TP's out. And Afu is still here, not killed off. So a little bit of an overextension as they end up being able to pick that one up.
Yeah, that was really good for the Tide. He's got his level 6 now. He's got 1,600 gold. I'm not sure if he's going to go for the mech. I mean, looking at his inventory thus far, it looks like he is just straight up rushing the Blink Dagger here, which I'm also honestly fine with. Talked about the big feature of the Tide Hunter this game being counter-initiating against the Chronosphere, and the only way that you can do that is with the Blink. So,
not going to be able to get it. Mikasa wanted it, but I don't get it. And pops the ultimate for that one. Might run into these Naga Siren illusions, but it's not the real one as of yet. Well, okay, if he guesses right, he might realize that that's Naga. There's the jump forward, but Song of Siren comes out. Pretty long cooldown for that level 1. And meanwhile, FY runs into a little bit of an angry alchemist here. I don't know if they're going to be able to find anything off the back of that, as he does get the bounty rune and, well, heads off on his merry little way. They're going to try and clear out these ancients themselves, doing a lot of damage to themselves, and there's also the silence. There's Zaki and Wen walking in. They have a Ravage available. They might be able to take this one, and ZYF in a little bit of trouble. And they are going to back out now. Again, trying to secure this farm for Nana.
VGR still keen to pressure it, it looks like. The Song of the Siren actually being on cooldown is a really big deal. It's a very valuable ability this game against the Phoenix, against the Void. But with that down, I think VGR feeling very confident to come in here. But don't want to push up the high ground, looks like. So.
It's a scary one indeed. Oh, Yang jumps through the trees, but is not in a position to lay out the Chronosphere. And he jumps back out of the trees. Alright, cool stuff.
Zaki's still just chilling over here. Got some experience off the Ancients. Does have his level 6 now. Alright, so we've got 2 pieces of the puzzle. We got the Ravage, we got the Finger of Death. Magnetize coming up. Only half a level to go for Afu.
That's
But
the Tomo
VGR just-
too. So that probably should get him to it. Although he's still very low, so they probably need to... Well, it looks like they're going to go even though he's somewhat hurt. And there's his level 6, so... Oh man, this could be a great timing. VGR all in the Roche pit. Even if they get the Aegis right now, if they're able to take this fight...
Tank the gank DDC.
Rolled in, trying to find it, stun onto several. Aegis on the ground. Earth Spirit comes in and takes it. Afu with the huge plays, the Ravage follow-up. Oh no, Vici Gaming Reborn. What have you done? FY just trying to keep them all alive. A nice Chronosphere. Nana's still alive in the midst of it though, and now it looks like they're going to maybe bring down FY as well. I think that they're going to do it again. Afu on nothing. He doesn't even burn through the Aegis. He was at half HP. What?
DDC needed to tank the roll, I think. That was... He ran out there to tank the smoke, and he was expecting them to use spells on him, but Afu was like, nah, never mind the Vengeful Spirit, I'm going right for the prize. Head straight to the pit. And... Oh, that was big. That was so big.
That was great. That was really well played by Warriors Gaming.Unity, and specifically, again, Afu. I mean, he casted his spells, so is what it is, but he was able to get that Aegis. Yang, a bit of a misplay. He was not stunned, but he waited for a second on trying to take the Aegis. He possibly could have gotten the Chronosphere himself. I couldn't see if he ended up laying down the silence, but regardless, this lineup that we had talked about having trouble, now you've got an Armlet on Alchemist, you've got a Blink on Tide, there's a couple of other items. Is Naga Siren is probably about halfway to an Agnum Scepter, or excuse me, Radiance. Like, this is feeling like it could end up being a bit of a tough one for Vici Gaming Reborn.
Yeah, and they're just going to keep on pushing at the moment, it looks like, despite not having the Chrono, but I guess it's no Chrono, no Ravage.
Oh,
Afu is on the back lines here, though.
Magnetize about to be off cooldown. They swap out Zaki. He's going to roll in. Hits onto FY. Breaks it. Stun on it, too. Mikasa's in the midst of that as well. They try to get another one. There's no more Magnetize and silence onto Afu, but he was able to take down that Phoenix there. And now looking for Mikasa. They have a stun in 2 seconds. When, well, no more Ravage for a little while, as they are going to be able to chase him down. Blink. That's going to be a catch, and Zaki's going to die. I think that they might have overextended a little bit. Warriors Gaming.Unity and Song of the Siren, they're going to disengage. So, good stuff. They don't have Ravage for another 30, blinking out. That could have gone really badly if they couldn't get the song off.
Yeah, so it looks like VGR they're gonna try and stick around here and take out this tower. They've still got they've got about half the duration left of the dragon form, but DK is a little bit low. No Urn on the lineup just yet, unfortunately. I think DDC is probably gonna work towards that. They need some push to stay in. They do have the Vlads from the Void, but with no mech carrier.
They've got Ravage now up on the Tidehunter, too. Ajit needs to be careful. Oh, God, if he gets caught right here, this could be rough, and no ability to really stop this. They jump onto the wrong one, though. Naga heads north, and is going to be fine. And I'm still... I've really been enjoying this Afu Earth Spirit. He still has his Aegis online. And can just feel comfortable rolling into the middle of everybody anytime he wants to.
Yeah, it's actually pretty scary from that perspective for VGR, that the Earth Spirit can just be totally suicidal, and it doesn't really matter for him in the slightest. Alright, so Jaren just getting some pretty good levels. The other thing to talk about for this game, and there is... The one thing to talk about, I think, about Naga Siren is that we have seen Naga Siren lose in the ultra late game. Like, Naga Siren and Alchemist are both heroes where you need to kind of hit your timing, where you use your super accelerated farm to fill your inventory and then go and win the game. Not that VGR necessarily have the most amazing late gamers, but Dragon Knight can be scary with farm and his level 16. Dry Ranger can definitely do a lot of damage, and the Faceless Void is kind of the same story. So even if things don't go that well for the next little bit necessarily for VGR, I feel like I don't want to say that they still have the late game to fall back onto, because it's still going to be tough if the Naga Siren gets ahead and the Alchemist gets ahead, but it's not a complete loss if the Naga still gets her farm and gets going.
And there's, like, they can itemize to deal with it, too. It's not like they're going to be
Yeah.
surprised by the Naga Siren getting it. We saw, I think, even a Battle Fury Void in a couple of series yesterday to deal with the Naga Siren as Afu, Aegis in hand. He might end up losing this one, but they're going to be able to come in and try and defend this. If they want to, they can go for a counter initiation here. Nana is going to jump in. They have the Chronosphere already dropped, but the Ravage counter initiation, it's pretty good. Afu's still alive, gets one silence off, but it's not nearly enough. And now is going to start to go to town. That is going to be a dead Phoenix Egg, and that's going to be a dead Alchemist as well. The swap back, Ajit dead. He was able to buy his Relic before then, but now we're seeing the power of that Drow Ranger draft. Just eating through those heroes.
Yeah, just a lot of damage. I mean, that the one thing about that last fight as well was that I think the Drow, the fight that we saw the Song disengaged from, is that the Drow turned up a little bit late. But when you've got a double damage on your Dragon Knight and he's auto-attacking right from the start, and the Drow Ranger's also in a good position right from the start, things go very differently. And that time around also FY getting off a nice supernova, despite dying, but still kept them there, did some damage. Well worth it for him.
And this is the other thing, is that no matter how many good team fights Warriors Gaming.Unity take, all it takes is one bad one when the creep waves are all pushed in, and then VGR are going to be able to take objectives. And the tier 2 tower just melting there. They're not going to be able to take Roshan, but next time around that's going to definitely be the play. Nana, level 11 now. He is going to be going back for that Solar Crest that we were talking about. Do you think that Blink is a good next item for him, or do you want to just try and get more tanky, something along the lines of a Sanj and Yasha? What's your read of the Alchemist item builds?
It's a tough call. I think it depends on how pressured he feels like he's going to be. There's some very teamfight oriented options that he could go for. I think even something like a Heaven's Halberd could be quite good for him here, but I like the pick-off route. I like the Blink Dagger quite a bit. Get into the back lines, try and find the Phoenix, blow him up with your Lion. Especially given that the Lion isn't going to have a Blink for a little while, so it would help to have somebody else ready to jump in with the Tidehunter.
I guess he could also eventually go for Abyssal Blade later on down the line if he wanted to as well, as the stun is going to hit Nana on the face. Not always what you want to have happen, but not the worst either. Drow Ranger almost going to complete a BKB at this point, and a Shadow Blade on DK, so the pieces are there for Vici Gaming Reborn to find these pickoffs themselves and the kills around the map. They just need to hit their timing well, as Yang might walk out into Nana. Okay. Hey, how you doing? But he jumps over into the trees.
Yeah, I feel like the BKB on the Drow says a lot about the pace that VGR are looking to set this game and the timing that they're looking to hit. So as much as they have the Midas on the Phoenix, but that's kind of a natural choice. I feel like despite losing that Roshan fight disastrously, they're still on the original game plan, which is win this game in like 30 minutes or so, be pushing high ground and close it out there. But that one hiccup at Rosh has cost them quite a bit. The Radiance is now up on the Naga Siren, so these lanes are all going to start being pushed out pretty quickly, and they don't really have the best heroes to deal with it now. That's great.
I mean, that's the thing, is that like that type of play right there is the big problem that you have for Warriors Gaming.Unity's draft, is that if they want to try and push out these creep waves, they do have to commit a couple of heroes. Now that does get changed because we got the Naga Siren that's up now, but still going to be a little bit of an issue. The Radiance Burn is going to be there to push out these creep waves. I want to see if they can still do a good job of distributing the farm and make sure that the other cores are capable of getting the gold that they need.
Yeah, and they need some vision as well. They need room for the Naga Siren to work with, to keep farming, steal farm from the opposing jungle. That's exactly what you're talking about, that they don't want the Naga Siren to just sponge up all of the farm on their side of the map. They want the Naga to be pressuring the lanes, farming the Dire jungle, and then hopefully leaving parts of the Radiant jungle, especially the Ancient Camp / Big Camp combo over at the Secret Shop, available for the Alchemist to farm, so that he can keep up and he can keep progressing in terms of his items.
So a couple of interesting ones. It is going to be that Blink Dagger for the Alch, and now Zaki went back for the drums. So just trying to stay as tanky as possible in the lineup of Vici Gaming Reborn. But it looks like they're going to be able to move in and try and take down this tier 2 tower. Another DD rune on Dragon Knight makes this hard to come and contest, as he's dealing so much damage every single time.
And Drow Ranger even gets to attack from the just outside of the range of the acid spray there as well, so doesn't turn out to be too valuable. And Mikasa looking for the Regoose here with the Shadow Blade.
Dire's top tower is under
They could find a big stun. This would be huge. They are going to go on to Naga, and now still fine. Oh, the jump in and Ravage onto 5. The silence as well magnetizes there, and they're all going to be taking a ton of damage. The Chronosphere only hits onto Nana, but there's going to be the Song of the Siren for the counter initiation, taking down this egg. FY still does manage to get it. That was so close, and this might be enough still. Can they find it? Dragon Knight brings down Afu, the Earth Spirit. Oh man, if they were just able to beat down that egg in time. Oh, that hurts so much.
Disaster. They used the Ravage, didn't get any kills off of it, and then VGR just turned that fight right around. And now they're right at the doorstep of the base. There is a glyph available, but there should be some damage. Never mind, actually, Yang's just dead.
Yang's
Alright.
dead. That was a pretty nice gust, but it wasn't quite quick enough, and now Afu looking for a little bit more. Does have the 2-person stun, and not going to be able to find it. He placed his Remnant just a little bit too far forward, and on the high ground, that's going to be the Sun Ray coming out, is going to hit. There's the 4-step forward. They catch Mikasa. A couple more hits onto him should bring him down, and trying to armlet toggle to the best of his abilities, and is going to end up falling there to the Naga Siren. Meanwhile, over on the other side, everybody's spreading apart for Vici Gaming Reborn, and this is going to mean they lose the Tier 1 mid.
Alright, and that was only at the cost of the Earth Spirit buyback, so...
has fallen.
Alright, not too bad. Good chase, a couple of good kills, especially getting 2 cores from VGR, so... net worth still pretty close. I mean, this is, what, a 5k net worth lead with a 2 tower difference right now, so it's pretty much just the tower gold propping up Vici Gaming Reborn right now.
And this is always so frustrating. The Naga Siren got an illusion rune, so more of them just heading out all over the map here. And the gem does get picked up by the Tidehunter. I'm assuming that he's going to pass that over to Naga Siren as well. So bots, Radiance, gem, Iron Talon on the Naga Siren, and still 1100 gold in the bank. Not to mention the fact that Nana is still getting items, so this is a little bit scary. Mikasa runs in, the Shadow Blade is there. Do they spot him out? Okay, no Naga Siren. They did just have a gem and ends up stunning himself for the moment. No Ravage for 15 seconds. Can they keep Nana alive? 4-staffed to the low ground, and he's going to hit away onto FY there. Mikasa is still in the area. They might think about continuing this fight. DDC? Nah, they're just going to try and create space. Well, maybe. Blinks. Alright, time dilation not enough. They can't go back in here.
He doesn't have a TP. They know that he doesn't have a TP. They're going to find him, I'm pretty sure.
Ajit has Song of the Siren. Chronosphere drops onto 2. There's the net, and Song popped out. They're fine for the moment. Oh, Mikasa. Moment. Oh, Mikasa.
Ugly.
I mean, couldn't they have just, like, left the Alchemist?
They could have just ditched the Alp, for sure. I think that was definitely an option. You know, the Naga Siren at this point, sure, the Radiance Burn is relevant in team fights, but you give her another 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and she's going to have more items. You know, the illusions are going to start tanking up a little bit. You're going to get the Manta Style. You've already got the Boots of Travel, so you've already got tons of lane pressure, and not a ridiculous amount of catch, really, over on VGR. I guess they do have the Shadow Blade on the Dragon Knight, but I agree with you. I think that was a weird decision to try and take that fight.
And now Drow also has the Ags online, so about to hit level 16, getting a huge influx of agility. This is the timing. This is the way that they want to make this work. They still do have to contend with that Radiance Burn on the Naga Siren. But Warriors Gaming, it feels like they've been wanting to team fight more than you would expect out of this type of a lineup.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised at how eager they've been to to take fights. It does make sense from their perspective to try and take fights far away from their base because they stand to lose less. It just so happened that that time they fought right next to the Roshan pit, and so what they were really fighting for was access to the Roshan there. But I don't even know if they would have been able to take it had they won that fight. So I guess they just figured that they could do more with the Song of the Siren counter-initiating against the Faceless Void.
Yeah.
The Naga actually had 2 sets of boots at one point. She had arcane boots and the boots of travel. I don't know why she bought an extra set of boots of speed, but they're now gone, and it's just the energy booster in the inventory.
All right, good stuff. Efficiency. Is it Octarine always, or do you want to try and finish off that Manta style first for Ajit?
I'm not actually sure. I'm not much of a Naga player. I think he gets the Manta, but
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess the extra illusions are always really effective, and if you can send out all of them across the map, that does cause a ton of issues.
But Octarine is also extra illusions, but it's more to farm, so yeah.
Well, Nana, he is going for that Sanj. Maybe he's going to finish that off into a Halberd. Occasionally we've seen Yasha's picked up as well, but Halberd's pretty good, particularly against this Drow Ranger, who is just doing so much with the Aghanim Scepter now online.
He's already got evasion, and I think he's already seen the beginnings of the. He's already seen the BKB on the Drow, and he's about to see the BKB on the Dragon Knight since he's in lane. So I don't think he gets Halberd.
Okay.
Yeah, he just gets SNI.
This was, I remember, Team Archon, actually, way back in the Shanghai Major. They got into the Shanghai Major running this exact build on Alchemist every single time, and it tended to be Blink first instead of going for the Armlet, and then you were able to find kills all across the map with the Solar Crest and the Blink with the maxed out stun. But a little bit of a different look this time around. He still does farm relatively quickly. I might try a quick reconnect again while we're doing this just to see if I can fix the issues. It was fine a second ago, but if anything happens, so I can feel bad about myself for missing it.
Not a whole lot happening right now. There's a 4-man smoke from VGR and is pushing down mid lane right now, and everybody else is just kind of lurking behind him. But Warriors Gaming.Unity are all waiting at their high ground, so looks like nothing gonna break out just yet. Tide's still farming the top corner of the map, working towards what looks like a. I don't know what he's actually going for. Is he going back for the mech? He's got a chainmail in his inventory right now.
It's a little bit of an odd one, definitely. Yeah, End is just not afraid right here. With the Aghanim Scepter up and online, he is very comfortable continuing to push this.
Yeah, and he's got the Aegis as well, so one more minute on that.
Those illusions. Very frustrating indeed. Looks like I'm not the only person that's having issues as people are reconnecting. Mikasa does have that Shadow Blade. Not the best at being able to find kills in the jump going into the base, but I guess that's what the Drow Ranger is for with the slow siege. Solar Crest thrown upon her.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Okay, they kill off that illusion.
The Naga needs to. Okay, she's cut the wave. All right. I was about to say that.
In some trouble, he's going to be able to get Force Staffed away, but they forced out a BKB on the Mikasa. They can go for the counter initiation if they want to at this point, and looking like they might be trying to go for a catch. No, they're just going to keep on sending out these Naga Siren illusions.
Alright. Successful defense. Does cost them some health on their tier 3, and unfortunately nobody on the Radiant team really got anything out of that other than the Naga because she was cutting the waves, so somewhat even exchange. The other big reason that the two big reasons that VGR back off there is that DK Ultimate's just wearing out, and also the Aegis is just about to fade now, so no real reason to stick around. They've still got plenty of items to grab, and actually has 3.6k gold banked, so if he wants a Manta, he can grab that. If he just wants to go straight in for a Butterfly, or maybe even an MKB, this game could be a decent option, knowing that the Solar Crest is over on the Alchemist. You've got the Radiance as well, which is counteracted by the BKB, but could still be good.
Are you having any lag, by the way, right now?
No, I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm already. Someone's gonna randomly poke their nose forward here.
Ooh, and they are not going to find Zaki. He's searching. Oh my god, that would have been terrible. Bottom lane FY is rather low here, but I don't think that they're really going to be able to make anything of it. They are going to roll back in, and that forces out the Supernova, so all is not bad, and Afu just barely able to get away from there before he went down to the Drow Ranger. So they force out the Supernova, not bad there.
Yeah. FY, he would have died if not for his Tranquil Boots as well. Just didn't get auto-attacked or throw an auto-attack during that time, so Tranquil Booty's gonna keep him alive.
And you can see the change in the way that the creep waves are all across the map. It's just so far like out that Naga Siren is keeping these lanes pushed in, and Ajit very difficult to deal with. He has 4,200 gold in his bank right now, just by virtue of keeping these lanes pushed out over the last couple of minutes. And you can see the difference in net worth is not fully caught up to this, but if I'm Vici Gaming Reborn, you need to start thinking about how to deal with this.
Yeah, the Drow Ranger is at the very least able to do a lot of counter pushing at the moment. We do have a Demon Edge up in End's inventory right now, so it looks like we are going to be seeing the MKB from him. I think somewhat preempting a possible Butterfly from the Naga Siren, and also you just don't want to. You don't have to pop your BKB every fight just so that you can auto attack people through the Radiance Burn and getting Solar Crusted. So seems like the natural choice here.
Well, Zaki's still scouting things out along the top here, and you have End that's up front. There's 5 heroes, though, so he is going to back out before he ends up getting scouted. Liking what I'm seeing across the board, though, and when you're talking about earlier, he goes back for the Buckler. I'm assuming that this is going to be a mechanism, but do you think there's any credence to the idea of going for a Crimson Guard? Obviously, it's not the best with Tidehunter, but could help out his team a decent amount.
I think it could be helpful, but the mech is still probably just better overall. And he wants Greaves this game as well to potentially dispel the Drow Ranger's silence. Because if VGR are being super disciplined, what they can do is they can gust the Tide and then just don't hit him for 6 seconds. And he needs some way to deal with that. So I think he's just going to go back for the mech. Also, the mech's just good against everything, right? It's health against the Sunray. It's not, you know, it doesn't just rely on people getting auto attacks off. And there's actually a surprising amount of magical damage on VGR between the Breathe Fire spam, Void's Bash is magical.
Ooh, bottom lane, FY jumped upon, and they find a quick kill. They are going to have to back out of there. So
they get the gem. Who wanted it, but maybe stuck around too long.
Yang is doing a decent chunk. They still have the Radiance Burn that's hitting away there, and he might just... he's super dead. There's no way out.
Just a 1-for-1, but more time bought, more Naga Siren farm. Octarine Core now online. Get that super value 10.5 second cooldown Iron Talon. That's what I'm talking about.
That's the value right there.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Well, I'm kind of wondering now, is this a point where VGR basically just have to wait for that, like, the point after Naga and Alchemist go crazy, or is it still a situation where they can take a lane of barracks with this next Roshan?
Yeah, I think the Aegis is the big thing that they need right now, but they also really need to pick off before Rosh, because they can't just go in there against a Naga Siren and a Tidehunter. So we'll see what ends up happening. We're getting a pipe being worked towards by DDC right now, just has a Hood of Defiance, so it looks like that's going to be somewhat of their answer to the non-stop Radiance Burn just coming out.
Mikasa's alone up in the top here. If they wanted to go, there's a chance that they could find him, and they actually did set up the stun on Nana, but did not opt to go for him there. You're getting very close to a Blink Dagger on Zaki, and then you start to have a great ability to find a pickoff with these 3 heroes. So I like this dynamic of the Lion, Alchemist, and the Tidehunter being able to jump in and find kills. Do you think that we're going to get to a point where Alchemist starts buying Aghanim Scepters? That's usually something you see out of the Manta-style Octarine with the Radiance, but Could we still see that out of him eventually?
Yeah, I think you definitely get to that point eventually this game. He's probably still going to swap out a couple more items. He definitely wants Boots of Travel since he doesn't have room for a TP scroll right now. But there's some pretty valuable ags on the lineup here. Tide's certainly not bad. Lion's a little bit weird because it doesn't really have the mana to support a bunch of low cooldown Finger of Death, but the Earth Spirit's also really good.
They spot a couple of heroes. There's going to be the stun on top of him. FY goes down right at the start. The Ravage is also going to get thrown, and BKB popped a little bit on the later side. The follow-up chrono, though. They might be able to bring down Nana here. Ajit also taking a lot of damage, so they've lost their Alchemist. Meanwhile, they're going to have to throw out the Song of the Siren, still being brought down. The BKB coming out from the Drow, able to take it. Now Zaki in trouble. 3 are already dead, and oh my goodness, Vici they ended up being able to take that in very, very good fashion.
The Naga still just isn't a teamfight hero at the moment. I don't know what the plan was there, especially pushing up onto the double high ground. It's super tough. Oh.
Afu, he tried to get fancy again. I can't believe he did it. That's twice in the game.
I wasn't even watching. I was like, yeah, they got it.
Oh my god. He just jumped in, able to steal it away, and okay, Naga Siren, you do have buyback. That was what they were waiting for to try and push high ground. How big of a steal is that?
I think that's a really big deal. That was huge plays. And he's only dead for 40 seconds. I think they still have Glyph available, so they're gonna get their Naga and their Alk back up.
Oh my god.
He just stole the prize from VGR. They won the fight. They completed the challenge, and then, well, just swoops right in. And there you go. They're still gonna get some damage here. Looks like the tier 3 at the very least is gonna end up falling. I guess the Ravage is also down, so maybe they just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, Afu puts the team on his back, and still it's a bit of a difficult one as Mikasa's down. They don't have Chronosphere for this engagement. 10 seconds left before it's going to be back up, and Nana taking a decent chunk of damage. Yang backs out. They still haven't taken these barracks, and with the song coming out now as well, can they actually do something? Radiant Courier goes down. Trying to find it. BKBs are popped across the board, and now they just turn back around. Chronosphere catches onto 2. Ajit and Nana in a lot of trouble. The Drow is just doing so much in this engagement, and Supernova is going to end up popping as well. Oh man, Warriors Gaming.Unity, they are so low, everybody, but maybe they're going to do enough with this Radiance burn. The buyback on 2 already. They're trying to make something of this at all, but Zaki might have overextended as well. He just jumps in and gets killed off. They've only brought down Yang.
Oh man, that was so rough. The Song of the Siren actually just set up for the Void to get the Chrono. He was sitting there ticking with like the final seconds of Chronosphere coming back off cooldown as they songed and got another beautiful 2-man Chrono. Lane of Racks down. That's 2 buybacks expended as well. 2 pretty big buybacks too. And okay, Vici Gaming Reborn looking good. So it's turned out that the Aegis steals have just been little road bumps and not big issues for them.
Well, yeah, it's true. Definitely, it's road bumps, but they only got the melee barracks with that one, and I feel like if they had the Aegis, they probably could have taken 2 lanes almost.
Yeah, I think so. They can.
So it's ways into it. The problem keeps on being, for me at least, Warriors Gaming.Unity feeling like they can fight with this Naga Siren, and they just can't. That's not a possibility right now.
Yeah, the Naga just isn't, especially with this build, and this is the common build, but you're just not really much of a fighting hero. It's very much about winning fights through a war of attrition, right? Having the Radiance burn down constantly, throwing out the Riptide spam. I think once you get your next item, which is typically Diffusal Blade or Butterfly, that's where you can actually go in with a Swarm of Illusions and potentially slice somebody up, but with just these items, you don't really do that much right-click damage, and buying back is going to slow down Ajit's progression into that next tier of items from here.
The other thing that I'm looking at as I'm starting to think about VGR's lineup, the Phoenix is actually still incredibly farmed. He's got more
huge
farm than the Tidehunter right now, and is going to be building towards that Hex in just a little bit. I'm assuming that's what this is with the Ultimate Orb online. Like, it could be a Linken's, but I feel like that aggressive ability to just take down and lock down that Alchemist would be really great for him. And he's not slowing down anytime soon either.
No, he picked up his Midas early, and we talked about it during the early game as well, right? That FY didn't even spend any time in any lanes. He just pressured the Tide the entire time, stole his experience, has still found the ridiculous amount of farm moving forward from there. And, well, Warriors Gaming.Unity just going to have to see if they can stabilize here a little bit with the Naga Siren Illusions making their way out onto the map once again. We're back to farm stations.
This is as much as I hate to admit it, I do occasionally love playing me some Naga Siren. The little micro-intensive heroes, you know, you tab, you click one out, then you click on the map. It's reminiscent of some old games that I used to play back in the days, StarCraft 2 and stuff. But regardless, it's also horrible to play against. So you can feel the pain a little bit of VGR. They're still in a good position. Diffusal Blade is up and online right now for the Naga Siren, and I'm not sure about these decisions to try and go for the big smoke plays to find the kills. Like, can't they just keep on trying to farm up their items, or is that not really an option?
I think they're just worried if they lose another fight outside of the base while buybacks are still on cooldown, they probably just lose the whole base, and that's just it. So they have to try to find something.
Yang is there. He has the Chronosphere to jump in and try and lay it down. He is going to end up getting Hex for the moment. I think that they're going to be able to take this one. Afu is still running away, object controlled, and they pop out the Ravage, but BKBs were already popped, and Nana, no great way to be able to take this one. Everybody from Warriors Gaming.Unity is dead. Drow Ranger just did a ridiculous amount of damage in that fight. A full team wipe. And I don't understand why they keep on trying to go for these smoke plays into kills.
I think that one was okay. As I was saying just before the fight started, you know, if they let VGR stabilize and then come and find a fight on their side of the map, then they just straight up lose because they used those 2 buybacks earlier. So I think it was okay to try and get something there, but initiation a little bit botched. Yang was just hiding in the trees, and yeah, VGR, they know that they can just end the game right here, right now, and that's going to be the GG called. So.
GG, going the way of Vici Gaming Reborn. Just exceptional play. They knew what they needed to do each and every time. Phoenix gets the Hex right at the end there. Yeah, I guess it's true. I felt like maybe if they kept the lanes pushed out with Naga, you could try and farm towards some other big objective, but unfortunately for Warriors Gaming.Unity, they end up dropping the first game. VGR doing a really spectacular job of just, you know, recognizing the strengths of their heroes. We're probably going to bring down the stream again in a second and bring it back up afterwards, but any final thoughts here about this game and moving into game number 2?
Is Drow Ranger going to be banned? That's 3 Drow Ranger games in a row now. So I wonder if VGR maybe don't have first pick or something, maybe they just consider banning it. Since, as we mentioned in the draft, Warriors Gaming.Unity are also a Drow Ranger team. So I guess that's the one question for me here. And I'd like to see Warriors Gaming.Unity play something a little bit faster. They're normally the team that, you know, takes the early towers, gets the early gold lead, and kind of snowballs from there, and that really isn't what they did this game. So I'd like to see a bit of a mix-up from them.
All right, well,